Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Happy New Year. It's our first live stream of 2026. It's already the 8th. It's hard to believe it's already the 8th. I think I've been sick since Christmas. So it feels like everything's really just a blur. So welcome to the live stream. Welcome to a brand new year. We're gearing up for legislative sessions across the country. So things are going to get interesting in red states and blue states alike. There's a lot of kind of scary policy being advanced by in a bipartisan effort. So by Republicans and Democrats working together, not for the greater good of we the people. For those of you who are new to the live stream, new to the channel, I'm Julie Barrett, and I'm the founder of Conservative Ladies of America, which started in the separate country of Washington State 5 years ago now. On February 1st will be our 5-year anniversary of Conservative Ladies of Washington. It's hard to believe that it's not been longer than that, actually. And when we first started back in 2020, 2021 was when we actually became an organization. But we really didn't have the mission that we have today. It was really to be a way for conservative women to get connected and kind of more networking. And then when our family went through our horror story in Washington in March of 2021, that's when I really started digging into policy, and I started getting networked with some of the Washington state legislators. And I always say I went down in the rabbit hole in March of 2021, and I've never come out. And I'm actually a senior at Liberty University, finally finishing my degree now that I'm over 50 years old in government and public policy. And so it's fun. I like to nerd out on public policy issues. Our top 5 areas of focus for conservative ladies, which has expanded from ladies to men. We have had a lot of men who have worked on our legislative action team, digging into policies in Washington state and beyond. The guys obviously care as much about these issues as we do, and that's great. So it's always nice to have the gentlemen come alongside of us and work with us, work together with us. So our top 5 issues are First Amendment, Second Amendment, the right to life, which includes everything from womb to grave. So abortion, gender affirming care, so-called gender affirming care, and assisted suicide, and education and parental rights. Those are really the 5 areas that we try to keep our, stay in our lane on. But occasionally we will branch out into some other things that some other areas of policy that are important to us and just as Americans. And our team is all just citizens, just like you and me. We're all just, we are truly a grassroots organization, really just trying to educate our fellow citizens about policies that are being passed by lawmakers and how they impact us, how they're going to impact us, and really trying to make something that, like, I never paid attention to policy until 2021, really. And I guess I would have thought like it was over my head. It was something for these lawmakers, and come to find out that the people making the laws are simply the people that get the most votes. They don't necessarily have any experience in public policy or training or qualifications. They just got the most votes. And that's kind of scary when you think about that some of these people are very unqualified. And I think we're realizing how long we have had unqualified lawmakers, not just in our states, but at a federal level as well. And one of the things that I have noticed quite a lot is that our lawmakers are just puppets for lobbyists and big organizations, big pharma, big tech, big, the homeless industrial complex, the trying to think of the military industrial complex, all these complexes. They're all just the puppets in Washington, D.C. and at our state capitals. And we, the people, pay the price. So anyway, someone once called us a political watchdog organization. And I kind of latched onto that because I think that's really what we try to do. We try to dig into these policies and figure out what they're really about. because they always try to make them sound good and pitch them as something that's going to, protect children, empower parents, whatever the case may be. And usually when you actually pop the hood on these policies, they're harmful to the citizens, we the people of the United States. So that's a little bit about us for those of you that are new here. I'm streaming live today on the Conservative Ladies of Washington Facebook page. So if you're joining us on the Conservative Ladies of Washington Facebook page, we are going to be going to the Washington legislative website here in a few minutes and looking at like, how do you navigate that? Because I want to show you guys how you can do that, so that you can start tracking bills on your own, signing up to testify. One of the things that's really cool about Washington is they make it really easy to engage, and they make it easy to sign up to testify. You can testify remotely, which is pretty cool. I've even testified from way down here in Florida for Washington. Florida isn't quite as easy. We have to actually go to the Capitol to testify. And I live in Southwest Florida, which is about 8 hours from Tallahassee. So I am planning to get up to the Capitol to do some testifying this year, and looking forward to branching out. So want to say hey to everyone that is in the chat. I see TZ Burton. Good to see you there. Happy New Year. And the new chillin' dude. Hello to you on X. If you are joining us, please do say hello in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. I see Leslie from our leadership team is on the YouTube chat, so you can chat her up. But the thing with the live stream is it's really designed to be interactive and take your questions and chat with you guys. It's a lot more fun for me than just recording videos and uploading them. So it's fun to engage with you guys. So if you have questions as we go, please don't hesitate to put that in the chat, or if you just have comments that you want me to see, put those in the chat. My predictions for this year. I want to talk about my predictions on really a national scale, because we have some big issues that our team has been talking a lot about. I put out a lot of content on these particular issues, and I think that they're going to be something that American citizens need to be really aware of going into this year, because I do believe that these are priority issues for both sides of the aisle. Excuse me. Like I said, still getting over that Christmas cold. I think a lot of people across the country got it. So bear with me as I may have the occasional cough. The two issues that I think we are going to see a lot of at a federal level, and we're going to see it at state levels. AI policy, or tech, I should say tech policy. Let's make it larger than AI. We're seeing it with AI, but we're also seeing it with social media. And a lot of these policies are pitched as a way to protect children, a way to empower parents. But what they are, when you really dig into the fine print of the bill, is they are a de facto digital ID. Because how are we going to know if the user of an AI chatbot or a user on Instagram or Snapchat or what have you, how are we going to know the age of that user to know that it is a minor and therefore we have to ban their use? Well, we're going to have to then know the age of every user on the platform. That way we'll know who can and can't do certain things, who can have an account, who can't have an account. How are we going to know the age of the user? And the thing that most of these policies lack is they don't tell the platform what they have to collect to verify the age and identity of the user. So that leaves the platforms themselves to come up with the means to collect this information to figure out how they're going to verify the age of the user. And the policies often have penalties involved. Some of these are like, there's one policy in Congress that's like $1 million a day. Most of the state level policies are like $10,000, $50,000. Which isn't probably a lot if you're like Meta or something like that. But the smaller apps and platforms are going to have a difficult time competing in a world where they've got these huge astronomical fines and penalties. So if you're not in compliance with the policy, there's going to be some kind of a legal fine or a legal penalty involved there. And that means that these platforms are going to overcompensate. They're going to over-regulate them. They're going to collect more information maybe than is necessary to cover their butts. And that's going to impact every user. So let's just say there's a Florida's got an AI Bill of Rights that's going to go through the 2026 legislative session. It's been pre-filed, and we're seeing something pretty similar to this in other states. So minors can't use AI chatbots. So think like Grok or ChatGPT, Copilot, who are some of the other ones, Claude. And so minors under 18, if this Florida law passes, they would not be able to use these chatbots. And so somehow let's just say Grok for the sake of this conversation, somehow Grok is going to have to know the age of every user. And there are a lot of ways that you can access Grok. Grok is a standalone app. You can access it within the X app. You can access it on the internet through the web, through a web browser. So there are lots of different ways you can access Grok, as with every other AI chatbot. So there's so many layers of levels of where they're going to have to be collecting ID. And maybe, a lot of people talk about, well, you just use a VPN and you'll get around it. That might work for some people, but not everybody is going to be using a VPN. And what's going to happen here is these laws are going to get passed. And, some people who maybe aren't even using AI chatbots right now won't know until, a couple years down the road or however long it takes to get them onboarded to some of these new technologies. So they're going to regulate really hard on these to ensure that no minors are getting access to this, or they've got the parent permission thing. So you've got a minor and then you've got to connect it to a parent account. So now you've added another layer of verifying identity. You've got to verify that you've got to verify the parent-child relationship. What are they going to use to confirm that the minor user is indeed the legal child of the parent? So, you can just start spinning on these and realize how complex these policies are going to be. And I think that, I really like DeSantis. I think he's a great governor. He's by far the most conservative governor that Florida's ever had. This AI Bill of Rights, however, is not conservative, and it is a de facto digital ID. And so we really need to start having conversations about these policies. And one of the things that, one of the things that seems apparent to me, and I don't know, but it seems like a lot of these lawmakers don't understand the technology that they are attempting to regulate, because I don't know if they're not processing all of the different, like, how does this go? How does this look down the road? How does this play out over time? And one of the things that we all should know by now is that when they open the door to one of these policies, they crack that door open. The door never closes. It just opens wider. And so this is like the inch by inch policy thing, the boil the frog approach, if you will. That's kind of what I see going to happen with these policies. And I think it's easy to dismiss these policies if you have grown children. And so you think, well, that doesn't apply to me, or you maybe don't use certain technologies. And so again, you think it doesn't apply to you. But like I said, we've got the boil the frog approach. This isn't going to stay contained to AI chatbots or to the App Store or to social media platforms. It is going to be expanded broadly throughout our society, and it's going to become a part of our daily life, whether we like it or not. I do see that that's the inevitable. I think that we should do everything we can, though, to slow it down. And one of the things I mentioned in a video I did, I think yesterday, on the Florida bill, who's writing these bills? That's what I want to know. Like, you have the App Store Accountability Act, and we know that is a bill that's written by Meta. because it shifts responsibility from the platforms to the App Store. And so Meta loves the App Store Accountability Act because it shifts the responsibility down to the App Store level. And so whoever is able to download an app through the App Store, so this is another bill, and we've done a lot of content on it, so I don't want to go too deep into the App Store Accountability Act, but this is another one of those bills that they're saying protects children, because then parents have to provide permission for children at the App Store level, which means that we're all going to have to verify our age to download apps. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't do anything to protect the kids from the in-app dangers. So the AI chatbots, the direct messages, all of these things are still in the app itself, which Meta loves. And that's why they're pushing so hard on the App Store Accountability Act. Now, in good news, right before the new year, a judge in Texas, there's a lawsuit on the law. The App Store Accountability passed in Texas, Louisiana, and Utah this year. And there was a lawsuit in Texas, and a judge has at least temporarily halted that particular law. So it wasn't able to take effect on January 1st per the legislation. So that's on hold right now. And I believe, is it Ken Paxton is the attorney general in Texas? He is, he's fighting back against that. You've got the Digital Childhood Alliance, who kind of came out of the woodwork about a year ago. They're pushing this hard on behalf of Meta, and they're targeting a lot of parental rights groups to help push this policy. So, and they're all kind of up in arms. And I don't know if, a lot of these groups don't actually understand how the bill works, because if you were a parent and you actually understood how the bill worked, you would see that this is a huge gateway to digital ID. It's a huge infringement on privacy, and it actually does nothing to protect your children. And parents really just need to step up and do the hard thing, and don't just give your children unfettered access to social media or AI chatbots. And, that is all within the control of the parents. You don't have to give your kid a smartphone or some of these things. I know that's not easy, especially kids really want what their friends have, and everybody's doing it. And so it makes it hard. But I think I would say my generation of parents, we've done the experiment and it did not work out well. So let's rein all of this digital stuff for kids back in. So that's kind of the digital ID with these social media technology, AI kind of bills. That's going to be a big one. There's a huge package of bills in Congress right now that they had some hearings and markup sessions in early December. I'm hopeful that with the way things are going with the Texas law, that may slow things down. But eventually we're going to get these bills passed. I just hope that we can raise some awareness and get citizens really understanding what these bills are about, so that we can all oppose them and speak out to our lawmakers. Again, this is happening at both a state level and a federal level in Congress. And it's like I said, it's red states and it's blue states. So I mentioned the Florida AI Bill of Rights. Well, Washington state has something that's really kind of similar. And that's the pattern that we're seeing across the country, is that you have these really red states, these Republican strongholds. And then you've got a Democrat stronghold like Washington, and they're both like doing the same kinds of things. So this is going to be a priority in 2026. And our hope is to help raise awareness on it. The other big policy that's going to be huge, I think, in 2026 is the anti-Semitism policies. And these are really anti-First Amendment. Now, I want to preface this by saying that I certainly don't think anti-Semitism is good. I abhor, the Jewish hate and the true anti-Semitism. However, the definition for anti-Semitism from IHRA, which is the International Holocaust Remembrance Association, I think, IHRA, their definition is very, very broad. It includes criticism of the nation of Israel, which the nation of Israel was created politically in 1948. So you might not say, like, you could criticize Bibi Netanyahu, which doesn't have anything to do with Jewish people. And that would be considered anti-Semitism per the IRA definition. And there have been several policies at the federal level over the last, I don't know, at least 8 years. That's about as far back as I have looked. In Trump's first term, he signed an executive order against anti-Semitism. And in his second term, he signed an executive order against anti-Semitism. Charlie Kirk was, I would say, he single-handedly defeated 2 different anti-Semitism bills in Congress, one in 2024 and one in, was it May of 2025? I mean, he came out really hard against those bills. Hey, Hannah. See, my kiddo is in the chat. Good to see you, Hannah. And AK Audits. Thank you for what you do, any kind of awareness, I believe, to get out there to show the people we need to vote. Yes, we need to vote. You need public servants that are going to work for us or taxpayer dollars. Absolutely. And sorry, just kind of to derail for just a second, look to the candidates who are maybe not supported by the party. A lot of the grassroots, true conservative candidates may not have the backing of your establishment GOP. There are a couple of really good ones in Washington. AK Audits, you're in Eastern Washington. My friend Gabe from Kennewick called me the other day. He's going to be running for the state Senate for Legislative District 8. Gabe is awesome. He's a school board director for Kennewick School District. He has been like one of the conservative fighters in the school district and has really gone against some of the crappy policies that have come out of Olympia. I also saw that Wadi Yakur is running. I think he's going to run for Congress in the 3rd legislative district. He ran in 2021, and we did a town hall kind of thing with Joe Kent and Wadi and what's her name, Heidi St. John, and we invited Jamie Herrera Butler because she was running for re-election as well. She never responded to us, but so we had those 3 candidates, and Wadi is a really cool guy. We ended up endorsing Joe Kent. And I think because Joe got President Trump's endorsement, Wadi dropped out, wanted to give Joe kind of the floor there. But I saw on Facebook yesterday that Wadi is going to be running again. And so we were texting back and forth yesterday. He's a really cool guy, and I think he would be like a man of the people. I know that the Senate Minority Leader, John Braun, is running for that seat. Unfortunately, I cannot in good conscience support John Braun for that seat. He is definitely not a conservative. TZ says, Julie, on Glenn Morgan's We the Governed, I go to your page and ask Glenn questions on the bills you post on his weekly live show. That's awesome. I wonder what he thinks of that. Yeah. So back to the anti-Semitism bills that, like I said, Charlie Kirk nearly single-handedly killed these bills. And he wasn't afraid to call out that they are unconstitutional. They are anti-First Amendment. Thomas Massey also was very much against these bills, as was like Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene, who are both now gone from Congress, which is really unfortunate. But number of states have passed similar legislation. There's currently in Congress, there's currently several different bills that branch from censoring people online to censoring in education at both the college level and at a grade in K-12. Here in Florida, there was a bill that was passed in 2024 about anti-Semitism in education, and it passed unanimously. And Governor DeSantis went to Jerusalem to sign the bill. Again, I love DeSantis. I don't know why you got to go to Israel to sign American bills. especially one that is anti-First Amendment like that. So I did not like that he did that. There are several other states that have passed something similar. Again, this is a red state, blue state thing. So you've got California has done this, a lot of blue states, even New York, although the New York mayor just, I think, rescinded an executive order that Mayor Adams had passed to adopt the IRA definition of anti-Semitism in New York. So this is something we've been putting out a lot of content about this, really trying to educate people about this, because it's just, if you are a supporter of the First Amendment, and we see that we fought this a lot in Washington State with the hate crime laws and the hate speech laws and the tattletale hotline. If you're against those things for, let's just say, LGBT stuff, right? If you can say anything you want about a person's gender or sexuality, even if it's unkind, but it's constitutionally protected, well, you can criticize Israel as well. You can say things that are abhorrent and ugly and evil. It's protected by the Constitution. So we don't get to pick and choose. And that's one of the things I think about, well, both sides do it. But if we're for the First Amendment, then it doesn't matter if it's speech. We don't just, protect speech that we like, and, everything else is fair game. Anyway. So those are my predictions for policy nationwide, federal level, state level, is the tech bills, the de facto digital IDs, and these anti-Semitism bills that are really going to be unconstitutional, an attack on free speech. I think we've really got to, we can support Jewish people. Whatever you think about Israel is kind of irrelevant to this. We, as free people, can criticize any government that we want, including our own. And if they're going to censor us when we criticize another nation's government, it's not going to be long until they don't let us criticize our own government, our state government, this doesn't end well. So we've got to defend the First Amendment at all costs. So let's move on to Washington State. Oh, you guys, Washington State, it is not going to be good. And the Democrats in Washington are already off to a big start. They have pre-filed hundreds and hundreds of bills. Keep in mind, Washington operates on a biennium. So any bill that was not passed last year automatically carries over into the 2026 legislative session. One of the themes that I've been noticing in the bills that have been pre-filed is some of the worst bills that are being carried over have had a replacement bill. It's a more expanded, worse version of last year's bill. I've seen that with like at least 2 or 3 different bills that were on kind of our hot list for what's being carried over. They've got new and improved, worse bills. So that's something to watch. Now, in years past, we have had our Legislative Action Center on our website. It's a pretty hefty investment, and we just weren't using it to probably the greatest ability. And so we did not renew that this year. But we do have on our website, if you go to conservativeladiesofwa.com, at the top, you'll see one of the choices is 2026 bill alerts. And you can click on that and go read about some of the bills that we've highlighted as priority bills. Now, I want to remind you, we have kind of our 5 areas of focus: 1A, 2A, right to life, education, parental rights. And so we try for the most part to stay within that. There's a lot of sanctuary state bills, a lot of the Washington Senate Democrats are calling them immigrant rights. Didn't know that non-citizens had rights, but if you live in a deep blue state, they do. And sometimes they probably have more rights than you. So they have a whole package of immigrants' rights bills. And I'm working on I have a video that I'll probably have up later tonight that kind of goes rapid fire through that package of bills. There's 6 bills in that package. 4 of them are what we call companion bills. So 1 in each chamber. And they already have 3 of the there's like four different bills altogether. 3 of the 4 bills have hearings next week. One of the bills, which is Senate Bill 5855, which is about face coverings for law enforcement, specifically ICE. It has a public hearing and it has an executive session. So the way that works is a bill first has to go through a public hearing when the public can come and testify on the bill. The public can weigh in pro or con on the bill. And then the executive session usually happens a little later, usually the next week, sometimes within the same week. And that is where the committee sort of debates the bill. And then they decide if they're going to vote the bill out of committee to move it along in the process. This is where they add amendments to the bill. So I thought it was interesting that Senate Bill 5855 for the face coverings is already being, it's like Tuesday for the public hearing and Thursday for executive session. So they're going to move that one right along pretty quickly. And it's similar to a bill that was passed in California in 2025. It's more expansive, which is what we're seeing with Washington's immigrant bills. They are similar to what's been passed in California, but they're even more expansive. There's also some AI bills. I think there's 4 AI bills in Washington state that we've got on our list. I've done a couple of videos, so you can go to our YouTube channel if you're watching somewhere other than YouTube, and find those. But again, the AI policy is something that we're going to watch. Plus, there's a couple of social media bills that are a de facto digital ID. Those I think are, I think there's going to be just a lot of crap that passes. I want to go back up here because TZ Burton said, this was before we went live, I am predicting the state income tax is signed into law. I agree with you there. I think it will be. Taxes isn't really something that we get into very much with our work. But I do think that's right. More transgendering of children. Definitely on the transgender note, just I kind of, in Washington, they lump protected healthcare together, which is abortion and so-called gender affirming care, gender denying care. They have a couple of bills this year. This is one of the bills that's similar to something they dropped last year, but more expansive, and that is putting the abortion pill in at colleges and universities, state colleges and universities, making them available via telehealth to college students. And then there's a bill to amend and expand the dispensing of mifepristone in Washington state. In 2023, they passed a law at the very end of session, very quickly, when Inslee bought the stockpile of the abortion pill. They passed this bill to allow the Department of Corrections to distribute the abortion pill. And so what they're doing now, they're coming back and amending that to allow the Department of Health to also distribute it and to remove the $5 copayment that was required, that's currently required in Washington state law. So I lump those in with the whole, it's all part of the death agenda, as I call it. More mandates on taxpayers and Nick Brown filing hate crimes against anyone looking into fraud. I think it's safe to say that there is an immense amount of fraud in places like Washington, where you have these social systems. I think a lot of these social systems are just ripe for fraud. And, in blue states that have passed a lot of this with the help of Republicans, because a lot of times the Republicans, and if you go back and look at some of these daycare laws that have been passed in previous years, you will see that they were passed unanimously, or at least passed with very strong bipartisan support. And even the funding of it, because nobody wants to be not helping the children. I mean, think of the optics and the messaging that the Democrats are going to use if someone does not support these pro-child policies. The same is with like universal lunch, which I think is a terrible policy. I think it's very socialist. And the Republicans are totally on board with that. Washington State has passed some of that. And I think they were even actually prime sponsored by Republicans. It might have been Sam Lowe or Carolyn Eslick in Washington. I could be wrong. So I'm not like, I can't pin it on them, but that's my memory serves me correctly. And they don't like to vote against it, because who wants to say no to lunch for kids? But it's not the government's job to be feeding our children lunch. It's the parents' job to be feeding children lunch. We should be empowering parents to feed their children lunch. And of course, children that need food should have food. I was a single mom for 10 years, and a few of those years were very, very difficult for me and my 4 kids. And for some time, my kids got free school lunch, and we desperately needed that. And so I think it should absolutely be available for students who need it and who qualify. But I don't think we should just willy-nilly give everybody free lunch. I mean, go look at a cafeteria and see how much food gets thrown away. And speaking of, the food that they serve the students is crap. Like, that food is so disgusting. So if you're going to like do kids a solid, like, let's give them some actual decent food. But that's another issue. All right. I want to take you guys to the Washington State Legislature website and show you how to, let's see, try to, okay. Can you guys see? Hopefully you guys can you see my screen? Let's see. Nope. Now you can. Got it. Okay, I'm not a technology wizard. Okay, here we are on, thank you, Leslie. Leslie says you guys can see. Okay, here we are on the Washington State Legislature website. Washington really has a very easy to use website. It's very easy to navigate, and it's very easy to engage. So I would encourage you to utilize this website as a way to find bills, track bills. You can search for bills by topic. You can look at, let's just see what's been filed today. So I'm going to scroll down. So these are all different ways that you can search by bills. So if you want to search by topic, I'll just show you this real quick. Let's look at firearms. Let's see what ferries, fentanyl, fire protections, firearms. Okay. You can even sign up to get the RSS feed on the firearms bills, or whatever topic you want. But you can see all the list here of the bills for the firearm bills that have been filed for the 2025-2026 legislative session. The bolded ones down here have passed into law. So we have a number of bills firearm bills that didn't pass this year. And I would say like half of these on the list are Republican bills that will never see the light of day. So a lot of these might be like okay-ish or kind of good. Those won't see the light of day. So I would say if you have limited time, I wouldn't waste your time on that. I think my prediction for the firearms bills, I don't think they're going to go as hard on firearms this year, because they've really gone hard over the last 3-4 years. Passing the magazine ban and the FFL bill and the assault weapons ban. They've gone really hard on those in the last few years. So my prediction with the firearms bills is they're going to pass this one, House Bill 1386. I think this is an ammunition tax. I think they need it for state revenue. And I think like look at all these co-sponsors of this bill. I think there's an appetite for it. They probably want to pass something related to 2A. So I think this would be a good one for them. The other 2A bill I think that they will pass this year is Senate Bill 5098. And that is adding to the list of sensitive places. Here's a prediction on this bill for this year. If you're tracking these bills, I'd love for you to circle back with me on this and let me know. I don't know if I'll watch it. In past years, when they've added to this list of sensitive places, they have put an amendment on the bill, a Republican amendment usually, to exempt CPL holders, concealed pistol license holders, from this list of sensitive places. I suspect they take that out this year. Just as if 5098 passes, it wouldn't surprise me if they take out that exemption. We'll see. Somebody remind me about this later in the session. I want to go back and show you the, let's take a look at the pre-filed bills. Pre-filing started, I think, on December 1st. Yep. And I'm going to see what's new today. Oh, there it is. 2320. I don't know anything about this. Should we look at it? Let's look at it. Concerning the regulation of firearm manufacturing. Somebody go tell Bill Kirk, there's a bill, there's a video for you. I joked with him because I was like, there's no new 2A bills, no content. So somebody go tell Bill, 2320, William Kirk, House Bill 2320, go do a video. What does this do? The legislature finds the production of undetectable and untraceable firearms and firearm components through three-dimensional printing and computer numerical control. Milling presents a growing threat to public safety. The legislature further finds the production of firearms by unlicensed manufacturers allows prohibited individuals to evade background checks and obtain firearms they could not otherwise lawfully obtain. The legislature intends to address these problems by strengthening the state's existing firearm laws. So this is a 32-page bill. It looks like this is, I think that this is House Bill 1240. Was 1240 passed in 2024 or 2023? I think this is amending the, assault weapons ban. So they've got a whole list. Is this new? No, this is amending. Okay, so let's figure out where they're, this is the new part. Digital Firearm Manufacturing Code. So they're going to amend the, sorry guys, I'm seeing this first time with you, so we're walking through this together. They're going to amend the assault weapons ban to include this Digital Firearm Manufacturing Code. Means any digital instructions in the form of computer-aided design files or other code or instructions stored and displayed in electronic format as a digital model that may be used to program a 3D printer or a computer numerical control milling machine to manufacture or produce firearm frame or receiver, unfinished frame or receiver, magazine, or firearm component. Let's see what else is new in here. So this is the assault weapons ban that they are amending, and anything underlined in this bill will be the new stuff. So here we've got, so it's all 3D printer stuff is what it looks like they're adding to this. So again, this is House Bill 2320. So I'm one of the things with any bill this session for Washington State, what I would encourage you to do if you're wondering how likely it is to pass is to come look at the fiscal note. And it's not surprising that this doesn't have a fiscal note available yet because it was just pre-filed today. It probably just got loaded at about noon. But the fiscal note will tell you like how much is it going to cost the state to implement this policy. And so if it's not much of a fiscal impact, I think there's a very strong chance of a bill like that getting passed. If there is a high fiscal impact, I don't know, with the budget issues in Washington, I'm not sure how much of that they will be able to do. So House Bill 2320, no, Leslie, I was kind of kidding. Bill will find it. Bill's probably watching right now. 3D printers block force with certain blocking technologies. 2321 might go hand in hand with 2320. A blue envelope program, I don't know what that is, but I just kind of wanted to show you guys how the pre-filed list works. As you can see, there's oh, goodness. So we start down here with 2347 all the way. So there's like 27 House bills. It looks like today, if they went in numerical order, sometimes they skip around, but usually it's numerical order. So 27 House bills today, and they haven't dropped the Senate bills today. So they've been, right around 50 to 100 bills a day. Just like crazy. So here's where so just to give you guys again, how do you get here? So you go to the homepage, click on more ways to find bills, come down here, common ways to search for bills, for the pre-filed bills, which will go through tomorrow. And then the pre-filed bills won't be there anymore. So there won't be that list of pre-filed bills anymore. So this is only through Friday. But let's say, let's talk about the, you guys have probably heard now about the bill to decertify your sheriff. I did a video on this a couple days ago, and it's already scheduled for a public hearing. I believe it's Senate Bill 5974. You just enter the bill number. You don't need Senate bill or House bill in front of it, just the bill number. Make sure you are in the 2025-26 biennium, and then click on search. Okay. So this, as I said, this bill is scheduled for a public hearing next week. And because it has this button here, this sign up to testify or submit written testimony. You can also send a comment to your legislators. That's on every bill. And if you click on that, it will, you'll put in your address and it will go to your 2 House representatives and your state senator. Sometimes people ask us, like, why are you not giving me the link to comment on a bill when we put out our bill alerts? We don't ask people to comment on a bill until it is scheduled for a public hearing or if it's in executive session. Most of the biggest reason for that is we want to maximize people's engagement on this. And one of the things we notice is people really quickly burn out in Washington state with the volume of bills, or they think, well, I already signed in on that once, I don't need to do it again. When really what happens with this is you will probably get at least 2 or 3 opportunities to sign in on this bill as it's moving through the legislative process, because it will be heard in at least a committee hearing in the Senate, and then it will move, once it passes through the entire Senate, then it would move to the House, and then it would get a hearing in the House. So you'll have at least 2 opportunities. So we really, our strategy there is to maximize your impact on when you're commenting on these bills, when you're engaging with these bills, because sure, you can send your legislator a comment, and if you want to do that and you have time to do that, go for it. But as far as our notices, we wait until they have a public hearing, because we want that committee to see the public opposition to that bill. So if you want to testify on a bill, you can testify in Olympia or you can testify online, which is actually a really cool thing that Washington does. That, like I said, here in Florida, they don't do it. Idaho does, Utah does. Several states do allow that, but several states don't. And it's kind of nice that in Washington you have that ability. So you can say you want to testify in the hearing, and then this is new this year. You'll select your position, probably always con in Washington, and then you'll select if you're going to do in person or remote. fill out the rest of your stuff, click You're Not a Robot, and submit your registration. Once you do that, if you are going to testify remotely, you will get a Zoom link that is personal to you that you will use to sign in to the committee hearing when it's time for your committee hearing. This committee hearing, they are hearing 4 bills: Senate Bill 6011, 6009, 5868, and 5974. You're likely going to sit through a lot of the meetings are usually about 2 hours long. And so be prepared for that. If they do go in order of what they have on the website, the 5974 will be towards the end. So when I was testifying a lot in Washington, I would just be, I'd have the Zoom of the hearing up in one window, and I would be logged on. And then I'd just be working on other stuff, and I just like have one ear on it so that I wasn't, completely just sitting there waiting for 2 hours. I could get some stuff done. Most people use this, I would like my position noted for the legislative record. What this does is this gives the committee an idea of how citizens feel about a certain bill. And this is a really good thing to share with your friends, to share with a lot of people, to help to get, to spread the word on a bill and to let the legislators know if you are for it or against it. Obviously, in the case of Senate Bill 5974, where they want to decertify your sheriff, we encourage you to be opposed to this bill. Select con. Con is the opposed position. And then you add the rest of your information, click I'm Not a Robot, and then submit. Some of the things that I hear from people about this, some of the questions I get on this is, what happens if you accidentally sign in more than once? It's okay. They download this into an Excel spreadsheet, and then they can remove the duplicates. And really, it's just a gauge for the committee to know how the people feel about it. Let's see. Do we have to register before? I have a screenshot, but I can't find the email. If you want to testify, yes, you have to register to be able to testify. If you just show up, they won't allow you they won't allow you to testify. Okay, we're no longer streaming on Facebook. I don't know if that's something I said or if we're having connection issues, but we're not streaming on Facebook anymore. Okay, so a couple other things I want to show you before we end. If you want to track a bill, click on the email notifications. You can then set up an account. You put in your email address, and then you'll verify that it's you and hit submit. Then you will get email notifications for this bill. I have registered for a few bills this year, and I got a couple of notifications that 2 of them were scheduled for public hearings, but then I didn't get, and many of them have been scheduled for hearings, and I didn't get notifications. So I say that to tell you that the website and the notifications aren't always very timely. And so I would encourage you, if there's a bill that you really want to track, that you kind of pop in and check manually to see if there's been any change on that particular bill. There's one last thing I want to show you on the website. Kind of always change it from year to year, but I want to show you how to see what bills are scheduled for hearings, kind of just another way to look. See all meetings. This is on the homepage. This is for the committee schedules. And let's just take a look at what they've got going on next week, which is the first week of session. And you can view the whole schedule, or you can search by bill number. But for right now, I'm just going to look at the whole schedule, and you can see like they've got Monday is all loaded up with a number of different committees. You can click on the agenda here for a little pop-up, That wasn't a good one because they're just, let's see what K-12 the Senate Education Committee has got a full docket on Tuesday at 8 a.m. And then you can come in here and click on any of the bills, and that'll take you back to the bill page, and you can sign up to testify. You can also click here on testify, and that's just another way to get to testifying. So the website is really easy to use, and if you just sort of fumble around, there are a number of different ways to stumble on what it is you're looking for. But we are always happy to, our team is happy to help you. So if you're trying to navigate something and you can't figure it out, please just shoot us an email. You can, the best way is info@conservativeladiesofamerica.com. And we will try to figure out we'll try to help you with that. So yeah, hopefully that was a good little crash course on the Washington State Legislature website. We used to do a Legislation 101 every December prior to the legislative session. We're scaling stuff back significantly in Washington State this year. Both sides of the legislature are rather unfriendly to Conservative Ladies of America, Conservative Ladies of Washington. And you know, it's unfortunate because really our goal is not party, if we're not party affiliated. And that's been a big thing for me since I started Conservative Ladies of Washington 5 years ago, is I don't belong to any party. I just want to know what's going on with my government. I want to know what's impacting me and my family. And so as I started getting into policy, I didn't want to support a policy just because a certain party was for it or against it. I really wanted to dig into the policy and find out what it was about and how it was going to impact me and my family. And one of the things I say often is that it's not personal, it's policy. And so if I disagree with a Republican on a specific policy, the AI Bill of Rights here in Florida is a perfect one. Like, I love Governor DeSantis, but I disagree. If he's on board with this bill, I respectfully disagree with him. I don't think it's a good policy. And I think we should be able to have those kinds of disagreements and still be able to work together. So it's kind of unfortunate that the Republicans in Washington have chosen that we are not to be worked with, because we don't just support them blindly on things that they do. And there's a number of Republican names on really bad policies with some of these Democrats. And we really try to give you a true picture of how this policy is going to impact you. And that's when we put out our bill alerts. That's really what we try to show you. And these Republicans, it's fine if they want to disagree with us. People often don't come and debate me and try to prove me wrong on my take on any of these policies, which kind of says a lot. But so because of that, we are kind of dialing back and not just because of the Republicans in the legislature, but because they have really done a lot of work to discredit us. And so it's not even fun. Like, it's not even fun to try to work with them. There's no like reward for us in it. And we are primarily volunteers. We make very little money. If you'd like to support us, though, we do have a Give, Send, Go, and we would love your support. Everything we do is driven by the small donations of just citizens like you that drop $20, $100, whatever, or subscribe to our Substack. Just trying to, make a difference that way. And they have really worked overtime to discredit us, and really in a disrespectful way. But we stay engaged, and we stay wanting to give you guys information. I lived in Washington for 48 and a half years. I raised my family there. My husband, same thing. Obviously he's older than me, so he was there longer than me, but it was home. And it's really sad to see the way that things have gone. I'm especially passionate about letting parents know about the policies that are going to impact their children and impact their family, and giving them a heads up so that they can protect their children, so that they don't go through the things that we went through in Washington as a family. So we will be putting out a lot of content, a lot of information, a lot of calls to actions and alerts. It just won't be the same volume as we did last year, but we really want to encourage and empower other citizens to get in the game and speak up. It's not enough, you guys, to share things on social media, to retweet people. You really have to put some skin in the game if we want to change this country. And I'm not just talking about Washington State. Wherever you are, red state, blue state, we've got to speak up. We've got to put some skin in the game if we're going to turn this country around, because it's not good. Leslie's asking me, did you answer this? I missed it if you did. I think you have to register 24 hours in advance. Oh, for testifying, or maybe at least 1 hour in advance. I don't remember in Washington. I believe that you have to register if you want to testify or sign in. You have to do so at least 1 hour prior to the meeting. They shut off the sign in 60 minutes before the meeting is scheduled. So if you want to sign up to testify, you've got to do it prior to an hour before the meeting begins. But if you want to testify and you need help, please do reach out to us, because our whole team, we were all just citizens that signed up one day to testify. My first testimony is quite a funny story that I've told before, and I won't go into it now, but it's pretty funny. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but it's actually pretty easy, and it's a great way to make your voice heard. And for me, especially in Washington, even though I knew that they were going to pass these bad policies, we were going through a lot in Washington, and there was something sort of healing, I think, for me in being able to give these committees a piece of my mind for what my family was going through. So 95% tax on tobacco products in Washington State, and 10.3% tax on rare metal sales. My heart hurts. My heart hurts for you. It's like it was expensive and unlivable before, and now they're doing all this stuff. And there's a number of different taxes, I'm sure you guys are aware, that the Democrats are trying to push through this session. So at least you can count on the Republicans to go hard against the taxes, I would think. Although the gas tax that was voted on last year was bipartisan, and it was co-sponsored by Republican Curtis King. Things that they don't usually share. Okay. I hope this was helpful for you guys. Thanks so much for joining me for my 2026 predictions for federal and all around the country. We did I hope the Washington State going through the legislature website was helpful for you guys. And I do plan to be back here again for another live stream next Thursday. We will officially be session underway in several states. So hopefully I'll have an update on some things to bring you, and we'll see what's going on in Congress that might be interesting for us to look at and talk about as well. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. If you have any bills that you would like us to take a look at that you haven't seen us put anything out on, please feel free to shoot those over via email to info@conservativeladiesofamerica.com. Please share this video for replay with anyone you think would be interested in the stuff that we have talked about today, which hopefully will be a lot of people, because we need to spread the word. Thanks so much, you guys. I will see you next